movement to help more people show up at wider horizon and reclaim their birthright to success. There's this quote that goes, aerodynamically bees should not be able to fly, their little wings shouldn't get their fat little bodies off the ground, and bees don't care what humans think is impossible, bees fly anyway. And so I wanted to create a space and a community where we could do what bees do when they're building something new and festoon and link arms and help each other.
I need to get to know this woman. I need it in my life.
Who is this woman? I need a piece of that.
As a survivor of domestic abuse and homelessness and clawing my way back up from rock bottom, I wanted to be able to put my hand behind me and say, come with me, you don't have to struggle.
I had a dream of something that I wanted to do, and Dani, she got me there.
You're just me!
How the bloody hell did I get here?
Often as business owners, we hide behind our businesses. But as the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. If you're not speaking about your business, who's going to know about it? If you're not speaking about your mission and how you can help people, how are you going to help the people you want to help?
I just made a wish come true.
A speaker coach is somebody who's going to be the hands at your back.
Wow, Dani made a wish come true. She helped me get there.
I'm buzzing.
It's life-changing. What an amazing journey. Oh my goodness me, I loved it. Oh, I loved it.
We actively encourage people to be themselves because that's the most magnetic thing about you. What people gain when they participate and be inspired is that spark of belief in themselves that creates a furnace, that creates a bonfire, that creates an inferno.
Wow. It has been nothing short of life-changing.
It doesn't stop there. Community creates bonds and friendships that are absolutely forged for life. It really does become so much more than speaking.
How you feeling?
It felt like I picked up this really enormous thing. That was awesome. Epic. Phenomenal. It was a bit more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Exhilarating.
Went fast. It felt amazing.
Exhausted.
Thinking at all about wanting to stand on stage yourself or running a workshop, get in touch with Dani, will not regret it.
You want somebody like that in your corner.
It was brilliant, the atmosphere was set, the stage was set, and it was smashing.
The Be Inspired Mastermind is for anybody who is ready to take the leap to the next step in their business. You can get in touch with me by following me across the socials at the Queen Bee Dani, or you can head on to my website where you can learn more about the incredible things that we do as part of IATQB. It's www.iamthequeenbee.co.uk. That's peace.
Hi! Sorry, it's not Dani today, ladies. It's Marilyn, aka the Champion You Coach, and I am, as she instructed me today, her lieutenant. So good morning, everyone. How are we all doing? How are we all feeling? Got a great show. So yesterday, Dani was talking to the awesome Catherine Morgan, and they were talking all about the shmoney, honey, which was so good for me because money has not been my favorite topic. And I'm sure we all took a lot from that. And today we have got another firecracker in our awesome powerhouse of a guest today. I'm so excited. I was literally stalking her Instagram yesterday. She's going to be coming with so much inspiration, so much motivation, and just, she's going to slot right into this incredible community. So I was so happy to see the little show reel there because it takes me back to being on the stage. Gosh, time flies. And that was my introduction to this incredible community. So it's really exciting to be hosting today on behalf of the Queen Bee herself, Dani, who's doing awesome things down in London town, my hometown. So I'm a little bit jealous, but actually I get to spend the morning with you talking to incredible people about incredible things. So let's get going. So our guest today, she is not only an incredible mummy to 2 boys, she's a multi-award-winning artist. She's an author, an entrepreneur. I think we know a thing or two about entrepreneurs in this group. She is an advocate. She's a business mentor for the Female Entrepreneur Association International based in the UK. And she's also just fabulous. She's a boss. I don't know if you saw my stories, but she's got this incredible mug. I hope she brought it today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce to you Ms. Beauty with a D, Camacho. Bring her in, bring her in. Here she is. Hey, Beauty.
Hey,
How are you?
thanks for having me.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh,
gosh, you're doing so good.
so
I'm
blessed
so
to have you.
excited.
Cool. So when I was doing a little research into you, it said you are from the beautiful island of Guam. So I'm not going to lie, I did have to look it up. It just sounds tropical and where I'd rather be right now than this rainy Wigan. So I believe it's a territory of the USA. It's Oceania. And the indigenous people there are, is it Chamorro?
Yes.
So could you tell us more about this beautiful place that you are from?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a lot. We're like a melting pot. We're like an extravagant salad here on the island of Guam, where we have so many different people. And yes, like you mentioned, the our indigenous people are called Chamorro, and that's what I am. Woohoo!
Beautiful.
And I am just so proud to be from here, you know. And we are, a lot of people, like, once they hear the island of Guam and they have to like zoom in 7 times on their phone and they're like, where is this place? You know, so I love being able to represent, because we are actually also a U.S. territory. So that's where the good English comes from. We are
I don't know about that. I'm British, so
we have to make sure that we are prepped, and we actually have the highest military enlistment ratios in the entire United States. So that's something to be very proud of as well. But we are also trying to perpetuate our culture and have it rise up again, encourage the younger ones to, you know, define themselves and who their cult or what their culture is and what that means to them. Because tradition, right? When we talk about tradition, it's really things that other people created for us that we're implementing again. And the new tradition we're going to be working on will be coming from ourselves and the kids that follow us. So I'm very proud to be Chamorro. In our island chain also, there are several other islands. And so my family isn't only from Guam, we are from Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. And it's just so fun to be able to, you know, represent everything, because it's like whenever someone asks me where I'm from, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm from all these different places, but Guam is home, but the Marianas is where our hearts are at, and the Pacific and Oceania. So it's like, yeah, there's so many different titles to claim.
I love the way you described it as an exotic salad. It just, yeah. And, you know, you are absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, you're from a small island, but you're having a huge impact. And, you know, that is why it's so important to represent. I'm Igbo heritage from Nigeria, and I splash that everywhere I go, you know, born in London and just traveled the world with my athletics career. So excited to get into your story now and hear all about the incredible things you, miss, are doing. So I want to kick off with your art. Tell us about your art and what sort of art you do and some of the awards you've won.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. This is something that I've been doing ever since I was a little girl, and I just fell in love with it. My parents were not pushy at all. They were just like, okay, if you like doing artwork, then continue to do it, you know, if that's what you love. And I put so much effort into it that a lot of my artwork really stood out from the crowd. And when I saw that being a little bit more creative, even though my name is Beauty, that's enough already, right? But being a little bit more creative I was able to stand out without anybody knowing my name yet. So I was like, ooh, I like this. I like the trend of it. I like the pattern. I like where it's going, because even though somebody didn't know who I was or what my name was yet, they were able to recognize outside of myself what I was able to express, right? And sometimes people would be like, oh my gosh, who's the adult who made this? Where's that person? And then here I come in like a short little girl. I'm like, that's mine. So wow. I loved, you know, showcasing all my artwork. And then from there, really being able to help people through my art and show them the different expressions or what my story was behind it, or like seeing their reaction and their interpretation of it. I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it like that. I love that interpretation. So I'm a multimedia artist, and that means that I'm able to use different types of mediums. And I definitely relate more to modern art, but I'm able to pick up patterns and processes very fast. So I guess that's what makes me able to mold and do things my own certain way after I learn it from somebody else if I really want to. But yeah, I love, like, my favorite is working with cardboard, and a lot of people are like, cardboard, what are you gonna do with cardboard? But yeah, cardboard is just so versatile. You're able to make skeletal structures out of anything. So I was really popular for like our piñatas and other structures in school and growing up. And I love like drawing with marker. I love face painting. I love doing henna art, clay sculpture. I love everything really. Like, I think the only thing, even though it's funny that I show off all of my glitter, like, I think that's the one that's just the most annoying is because of the cleanup. So I love my glitter, but the cleanup is something
that's
I can
so good though. Oh, I love that. And you're just so creative. I can just hear it and sense it off you. So I can't go any further without, mentioning your incredible name, Beauty with a D. Can you tell us about it? It's absolutely stunning. Was that, like, how did that come about? Tell us about the name.
Trust me, I've asked my mom how many times what it was. She's probably watching right now. I'm not too sure, but I was like, when I was a little girl, I was like, Mom, what, everybody's asking me, like, what do I tell them? And then she'd come up with all these funny stories, or she'll like make up all these things. And then later on down the line, I was like, okay, so what's the real answer? She's like, I don't know, I just liked it. I was like, okay, so here I am getting teased about my name and all these other little things, and there's really there's no core definition for it. So I was like, all right, what? Forget it. I'm going to define it for myself. And that's exactly how I explain it to everybody, is Beauty with a D. And that's actually the name for my autobiography. So I'm not too sure if you checked that out, but that's
we're coming on to that.
Oh, okay.
I love that, girl. I was on your Instagram. I told you saw me follow, and then I just couldn't leave. So that's incredible. And there's so much strength and confidence we can draw from our name. So I'm Marilyn, and I didn't like that name when I was younger, and I wanted to change it to Lindsay. No idea why. My mom said, no, that is your name. And now I even embrace my Igbo name, which is Chiwemwa, which means God's child. So, you don't get it when we're young, but when we're older, it's important to own it.
Oh yeah, it's like tattooed on me now. I'm like, yes. Yeah.
So
my name.
Moving on.
My mom said, Mom is here.
So something, we've got an incredible community of entrepreneurs. I recently spoke on the Be Inspired stage, and I don't know if you know, but I've retired from track and field recently. So essentially, I don't have a business yet. Well, Dani's working on that with me, but I was coming from it from the speaker angle, and I was super, athletes, we just go hard, and I was thrust into this community of incredible entrepreneurs, and they really held space for me and were so encouraging. And so now I'm essentially, getting on this movement of the athletepreneur, because that's essentially what I am now. And now I've just got all this creativity, and I kind of resonated with you because you have so many strands to what you're doing. And before you unpack that for us, can you just tell us a bit about your businesses? So I've got the Beauty Co Labs, is that right?
Yeah.
And also the Fund Forte. Yeah. So could you tell us a bit about those two, and then we'll delve into some of your other entrepreneurial works?
Sure. Oh my gosh. So Beauty Co Labs is my newest one. I came up with that in 2020. I think in the beginning of an ultimate up level course, and that was by Natasha Bray. So she is like the founder of our Story Mind project that we'll talk about a little bit later. But oh my gosh, I was just so inspired. I was like, you know what? I've been releasing my creativity for so many other people for so long, for 7 years already. I can't remember when's the last time I made artwork for myself. I can't remember when's the time I was able to really just sit down and dive deep into my drawings or my sculptures or whatever it may be. I was always doing my my event planner creations, like all the decorations and stuff for other people. And I was like, I don't feel like myself anymore. So when I went through the Ultimate Up Level Academy, I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's so inspirational to be able to really and of course, because the pandemic shut down all the events, Fun Forte was an events agency, and we were a full-fledged events agency from the planning and creation to the cleanup, basically, and the evaluation. So going back to Beauty Collabs, that's where I was like, I know I can do more advocacy work, I can do authorship, and I can focus on my artwork now. And I was like, yes, this is the route I'm gonna go, because I want more purple in my life, I want more glitter, and I want more shimmer, and more manifestation, spiritual power there. And I was like, yes, this is what I'm gonna focus on. So in 2020, that's what I was like going all gun ho for. I was like, yes, let's keep doing this. And it was so fun to really feel myself. Yeah. And then Fun Forte is an events agency, but what I've been doing with it, because it still helps so many people, I'm trying to just transfer everything online and teach my courses that were face-to-face online. And it's not that hard, but it is kind of hard when you're so used to doing face-to-face presentations and speaking gigs and things like that, because I'm like, man, I miss feeling everyone's energy. Like I can still feel it via Zoom like this, right? I can still feel your energy, but it's so much different when you're in a face-to-face community. But Fun Forte does event planning, fundraiser planning, and every day we're still getting questions saying, Budes, are you doing any more face painting? Are you doing any more decorations? Are you doing any more weddings? And I'm like, I don't want to, because the government's just going to end up coming to your event and shutting you down. And it sucks to plan for months and weeks and hours, and then the government steps in to see that your event is going on, and then one violation and it gets all canceled, So it's like, you don't want to be a part of memories that are like that, especially as the event planner. How it's your duty to continue to make the event rolling and help them create those amazing memories. So I was like, no, I don't want to be a part of a shutdown. But yeah, that's what Fun Forte is and Beauty Collabs is at the moment.
It's incredible. And yeah, I will definitely be getting in touch, girl, because there's some things that caught my eye. I just want to quickly say hi to Mom, Eloise. She's in the house, and you've got a lot of love in the chat. Hi, everyone who's tuned in to the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show. I'm Marilyn Okoro, standing in for the Queen Bee, Dani Wallace, and we are here with Beauty Camacho, and we're just delving into her story. So still on your entrepreneurship. So we've just talked about your two incredible businesses, and you are also a team leader and a business mentor for something called the Female Entrepreneur Association International. So can you tell us about that?
Oh my gosh. So the Female Entrepreneur Association International is just, I've been stalking their Facebook profile since it opened, and that was in like 2013. And it's so funny because I'm a little bit more passionate about the FEA, because it's just so beautiful to see that gathering of women who are really just striving, not necessarily for the same thing, but success in their own definition, right? And the Female Entrepreneur Association was founded by Carrie Green, and I hope you get to check them out, because it's so cool. They have a membership. They have all these other types of challenges and programs. And my job basically is to guide the ladies. So I'm in charge of all the ladies who are first names A, B, and C. And so whenever someone comes in through the group, I go ahead and, welcome them, message them, let them know what the tips and tricks are. So I'll be able to guide them along the way. And it was just so funny because here on Guam's very small. We, at the time in 2016, we had maybe 175,000 people to 200,000 people. And we're rising because of our military buildup. But anyway, I've been following the FEA since 2013, and then I attended a conference here on Island where a lady was speaking. And it didn't say anything about the FEA, but right when I heard her speak and she was like, oh, I'm the graphic designer for the FEA. And oh my gosh, I got goosebumps all over my hands. And I was like, what? We're from Guam. Like, how the heck do you have a United Kingdom connection, right? And I was just like, I was just so in tune with her, and her name's Michelle Rohr. So I followed the FEA specifically for the graphics. So I immediately turned fangirl, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this organization. I need to keep following it. And then I didn't know that they didn't know that they had a membership. So I was like, what the heck? Why am I missing out? I'm only paying attention to all these inspirational quotes and things like that. Where have I been? So as an inventor, I felt uninvited. I was like, why am I not on top of things? But it's totally my fault because they always have emails going out, right? But anyway.
I'm like that.
Yeah, Michelle mentioned that she's from the FEA, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So right when I had the opportunity to join, I joined in 2017, and I didn't do anything with my business. All I did was talk to people in the Facebook group. But they have over 7 years of content in there to learn how to develop your business into 6 and 7 figures. And I didn't learn any of that. I was like, by the time it was 2019, I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gold. I've been like sitting on top of a gold mine and a diamond mine my entire time. I've been a member here, and what the heck is my problem? So right when I found out more of the master classes, I continued to, like learn them and everything. And oh my gosh, my business skyrocketed. Hit my first 100K. My mark, not necessarily within like a month or a year yet, but I hit my mark, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's definitely life-changing. So now that I'm a mentor, we are assisting ladies in the Create and Sell challenge, or Create and Sell program. It's a 12-week booster program for female entrepreneurs, and we have about 180 ladies who to be showcasing the work that they have created, starting off with nothing. And we're in week 5 already, so we are just like blown away by the amazing work that everybody has been doing. And yeah, so see, you can tell I'm like so excited about FEA because it's like there's so much energy and buzz in there. It's like, yes. So
Isn't
that's why
the way?
Yeah, and exactly that's why I'm just so like FEA proud, and anything that I'm a part of, I am like so spirited. Look, I'm wearing stripes and gold and yellow and black for your show because I'm like, yes,
girl,
we gotta go to the
right with you. On brand.
Yeah.
So I mean, I totally, again, and many of us listening will, I totally feel about the sitting on things. And you know what? It's about timing, and your time was then. You were there soaking it up, and once the chasm is opened, you just been unstoppable. So as women, we tend to beat ourselves up a lot. So what, it went in the spam, but it's all about timing. Even with 2020, I just love how you were talking about how you just turned that into your, a positive for you. And, you had to adjust like we all did. You had to get creative, and you adapted and you stretched, and you're thriving as a result. So, that is just testament to your character, that ability to take that risk, and, just awesomeness. I'm just so inspired right now. So let's keep going, because the next thing I want to talk to you about, I think, is what we probably most have in common, and that's your advocacy. And, I'm a huge advocate for mental health for athletes, athlete welfare, social impact, just anywhere I can level the playing field for whatever communities. I'm currently running a series called Detach the Stigma. And we're looking at mental health in sport. We're having courageous conversations. And I feel like the reason I'm here as well was, that was definitely what Dani did for me. And when I met her, I was in the midst of retiring. I didn't know what business was going to come about. And just her, lifting me up, inviting me into her space, connecting me with other women, you know, I now have too many businesses in my head that just need to come out. So it's so exciting. So can you tell us, you know, what are your main causes that you champion? What is your stance? I'm so excited to hear.
Absolutely. So of course, with the Chamorro, you know, like we're always trying to make sure that our kids have access to the rights that they deserve and the rights that they are able to claim. So I always try to make sure that the children are aware of that. Because of our Native heritage, we are able to qualify for some U.S. federal grants. So like anytime someone says that they're Chamorro or that they're able to prove that, I'm like, yes, please, you know, if you qualify, apply. And that's the nonprofit part of me. Like as a fundraiser professional, I'm always like, if you qualify, apply. Just that's the main line. And again, if you qualify, apply. I'm always going to tell that to anyone and everywhere for anything, you know, because whether it's $100 grant or anything like that, if you really qualify, you apply, do it, because you have greater chances than anybody else. You might even be the only person to apply for that type of grant or whatever opportunity it is. So that's like one of my taglines. And that's one thing. Another would be because I'm an applied suicide intervention skills training trainer. I know it's a long title, but that's what I do as well, out of Living Works in Canada. But our Guam office is based with the Peace Guam organization. So that's a tier under our behavioral health administration. And it's just been so life-changing, because I was like, you know, this is something that I've been doing my entire life. I've been talking to people about all the hardships that they've been going through ever since I was a little. And I'm like, why are you telling me all, you know, as a little girl, I'm like, why are you telling me all of this drama here? What is this for? But I guess it's because I was able to, you know, listen and then process it out through my heart and then give them the right things out of my mouth, right? And I was like, okay, so it's always been natural to me. But of course, when I had my darker times and the times where I would always give so much attitude to people, I was like, no, forget it. I don't want to help Eddie. I couldn't even help myself, you know? So being an advocate for behavioral health and awareness, that's one of my go-tos as well. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunities, because I'm able to use all of my trainings in any type of situation, because ultimately we don't want anybody to commit SUICIDE. And I'm just spelling it out because sometimes Facebook would cut your algorithms on that. So they, you know, like to be able to support people and help them train and learn about it, to break the stigma, like you mentioned, it's so important, because these are the life-saving conversations that are needed. And a lot of people aren't brave enough to know how to do them. And I'm just like, I always applaud the people who come to our trainings, because it's so brave to not know anything about it.
Absolutely.
And dive into it right away for a 2 or 3 day course. You know, it's like, wow, I really applaud you for being here and being brave enough to help save somebody's life.
Yeah, we applaud you too. You know, I've done my mental health first aider training, as well as the suicide prevention training, and it's so powerful. And I think the biggest thing I took away was the language we used in the first instance, and how, you know, coming from the sporting culture, how complicit we are, and how, you know, the difference to what you say in that first instance can impact, you know, the outcome. So it's so incredible.
Exactly.
What would you say to anyone who's looking to get into this kind of training? Where could they find it? What resources are available? Because like you said, you have people that know nothing. So, you know, where should they be looking?
Right. And we have different trainings available for younger children and adulthood. So there are different programs that livingworks.net provides, and the program that I'm a trainer for is called ASSIST, ASIST, and it stands for Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. And you can look that up on, you can just Google it. You can find a training center in your area so that you can train. And then once the trainers see that you have the right attitude and the right mindset and the ability to really like maintain composure, not necessarily always maintain composure, because all of our trainings do get emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's once the trainer is able to identify another trainer, another possible trainer, you can have the opportunity to do that too. And depending on your contracts with your sponsors, you can either run it as a business, or you can be a leader in your community who's doing this for free. So it's absolutely up to you. There's different ways to continue to be an advocate.
Oh, incredible. Thank you so much. And, you just touched on that, the power of storytelling. I think it is so, you are such a role model to your community and to us, internationally. So can you just tell us a bit about, why storytelling is so important to you?
Oh, absolutely. Storytelling is super important to me because I used to suck at it. And that's true. Like whenever someone would be like, okay, Beauty, your turn to tell a scary story or a funny story, whatever it may be, I'm just like, oh no, here it goes again. I'm gonna get all these awkward, like, dude, tell her to shut up type of eyes, like, I was like, gosh, this is something I need to improve on. So because to me, when I was younger, I was like, storytelling seems like it's a lie, like when you hear all these like I was very science-based ever since I was a little girl. And I was like, how are these storytellers like really able to enjoy themselves, like the fantasy, those who are writing fantasy? I'm like, how are they maintaining this? Like, how do they differentiate themselves between telling lies and telling their truth? And then when I started to get older and I started doing more creative writing, I was like, oh my gosh, it makes more sense. These stories, like fantasy wise, these stories are this person's truth. This is what they're imagining. This is what they're able to create. It's like artwork. And I was like, I can do that. I can create artwork with my words. I don't need to get all these awkward stares anymore. And then I started to, I loved being able to write about facts and fiction, but I saw that my writing was stronger with my facts and my research, and I stuck to that. Then I started to be able to get a little bit more creative with how I was telling my truth, and not necessarily creative as a lie, but creative emotionally. And I was like, ooh, I know how to do this. I know how to make sure that someone like, especially if they're in a hard place of healing in their life and they're not being truthful to themselves. I'm like, this is what you need to do. And I was like, this is how you help yourself,
Yeah.
This is where you can also seek help.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do everything by yourself. And I think that's the power of story, is that you're able to nitpick all these little things from everybody else's different story and experiment with what works for you so that you can just live a happier life. And that's just the gist of it. It's like, it's so challenging to see somebody with so much potential. Everybody really has the potential to be successful with whatever they want, but sometimes they just don't know what that is, and they've never brainstormed to figure it out, or they've never expressed themselves to figure it out, or they've been stuck in a toxic environment where they just can't push through, and they're not allowing themselves to push through that toxic environment. So I think that's the power of story. Like, you can take a little girl or a little boy from a war zone, hand them a book, just one book that is black and white even, and torn and raggedy, and they're going to be able to get those mechanics in their brain and their heart workings to be able to create a story just from those pictures or magazine clippings or burnt whatever. And I think that also makes us, with story, we're allowed to go back into our childhood and really express ourselves again. So that's why I think it's really important. And that's why I love doing interviews like this, because it brings me back to that.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned that. And, you know, for me, that is how I literally talked myself out of a really bad place with my running and, you know, transition. I'm a transition and mindset coach. You know, we all go through lots of different transitions, and there's a lot of buzz around athletes transitioning out of their sport, and all the focus is there. But, you know, just like in life, we're constantly transitioning. And for me, there were just so many upheavals, and I just found each time I went to a school and I spoke to the kids, and, you know, kids have a way of just making you feel fabulous, or they'll just be brutally honest. But for me, I'd go in and be like, it's Marilyn Day. And, you know, I could be as low as anything, but just to see that kid excited to see me just because was incredible. And actually you are inspiring and motivating and, you know, giving different perspective to people that perhaps don't even know, you know, where you're from, but they can relate to a little something is really powerful. And then to be able to have an impact, you know, I have several little kids coming and saying, oh, I was going to give up running and now I'm not. And I'm thinking, you're 10 years old. What do you know about giving up? But, you know, just that little, you know, bit of inspiration. And so, you know, just literally, I can't wait to get to know you so much more, because just what I've seen of your Instagram, I'm like, yeah, I need some more beauty in my life. So just a little detour, because I did ask you to bring a little something on today, didn't you? I cheated a little bit because I don't have a mug, but I'm just obsessed with my current coffee giver. So, oh yes, working from home. Do you know what I like about that one as well? It's kind of got the Cadbury's coloring, purple and gold, chocolate, royal.
I love that.
Yeah,
my favorite. I got this from my niece for Mother's Day, because I went outside and I was like, where's my mug? And I actually found that at my best friend's house when I was helping her move out. And I was like, where is it? And then I find it on the ground, and I think the cats knocked it over or something. I was like, dang it, it's broken. Time to find it.
Was that your I'm a Boss mug?
Yeah.
I'm a Boss one. Oh, I love that. When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and find me one today.
I love this one because it says, where is it? It has quotes as if it's like working, air quotes. It's so funny.
Like working. I love that. Yeah, we've all been.
My kids are like, Mom, you have too much fun.
Well, you know, I never used to get when people used to say, do something you love and you never work a day in your life. And I'm like, whatever. But right now, just in the season that I'm in and starting to help others and, you know, us, you know, service-based coaches and facilitators, you really do get, it does take a lot. But I think because we're working from that personal space of just wanting to champion others and wanting to support others, that becomes your fuel as well. So really mission-based, purpose-fueled. So just before we move on to the main thing we wanted to talk about today in your, you know, the books coming up, we are on the subject of storytelling, and we have heard about all the incredible things you do, Beauty. But we want to hear a bit more about you and, you know, where you started, and, you know, you've got 2 beautiful boys to this day. So we just want to hear a little bit about life for Beauty.
Sure. Oh my gosh. So, it's already making my ears hot, because when I think about the past,
I'm ready for the tea, girl. I'm ready for the tea.
I know, like that's how my body reminds myself to calm down, and I've always had to do that, where it's like my ears are getting hot and I need to just give myself some little pressure points and acutherapy, or is it acutherapy? I don't remember what it's called, but I was like, yeah, just reflex, you know, like the reflexes on my ears. I'm like, okay, let's just calm down now, because we've been through so much.
Yeah, I used to do that on the start line. I used to rub here when I was super hyper nervous, or here. So I got that.
I think that's just an instinctual thing to make sure we don't kill ourselves, really, is because like it's calming. And I don't know, I've just always had to do it. Like if I was in trouble or something like that, I'll just like run to my room and just be like, oh my gosh, I'll be like, leave me alone. Yeah. So we've just been through so much, and it's like, I always laugh about it. I know, like, even the way I write, there's a lot of dark humor on it. And some people who are just going to be like, Beauty, this is ridiculous. You know, they have the warning in the beginning of some of the books. And I'm just like, this is me. This is how is how I cope, this is how I heal, is because I was so stubborn. And my mom and my dad and my Nina, everybody who's here, they all know that. And I was like, I need to learn for myself. Even in the process of writing my autobiography, that is the longest project I have ever taken time on, because I didn't realize how healing it was. I would write and write and write, and then I had to go to the chiropractor for the first time ever in my life. Then my wrists started hurting, and I'm not one to complain about like my physical ailments. Like, yes, if my nose is itchy or whatever, I'll say like, oh, it's irritating, but nothing major. I wouldn't complain about things like that. But in the space of writing my book, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to end up hurting myself or ending up in the hospital. So I need to take things slow. And luckily for my first book, the autobiography, it's just my friends and family who are supporting me. So I'm like, thank you guys for all your patience, because it hurts. The healing hurts. It hurts really bad. And if you like when you recover, right, from a run or anything like that, it hurts your body. And that happens in the same space when it's emotional and behavioral health. It manifests itself into hurting muscles. The worst one was when I felt like my teeth were all going to fall out at the same time. And I was like, what the heck is going on with my life? Because I've been through all of these things, right? I've navigated my past, but what I didn't do is I didn't grow the garden back again. So instead of just trailblazing through my past and leaving the ashes, right? I didn't grow the garden. I didn't grow the garden on the trail that I left the ashes on. And that's why it hurts so bad. And I was like, wow, this is so powerful. So whoever is considering writing a book about any type of trauma, please give yourself some time, or check out a book collaboration where you can get some healing from that too. Because man, I was like just blown away by the experience that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But wow, I've been through so much. And my mom is kind of the one who made me realize she would just be like, sweetheart, or like we say nen as a term. So she's like, Nen, you've been through so much more than me. You've been through so much more than anybody that I know. Like, it's just so funny how you're, like able to maintain your positivity and be so silly and be so funny. And I was like, okay, this has to be written about. This has to be talked about, because I don't want to have somebody spend the rest of their life worrying or staying in a vortex that they want to get out of, but they don't necessarily know that they want to get out of it. Because I thought everything was fine and dandy because of my mindset. And I was like, I can handle anything, I'm fine. I'll be okay. But I didn't. Once I started to apply more like healing strategies and choosing myself first, I was like, oh my gosh, let's do this, because more great things started to happen. And from there, it was like, okay, I need to continue choosing me, because as the eldest child in my family, that means I'm also the oldest grandchild. So that kind of puts me at a weird playing field between everybody. I'm like the youngest adult, but then I'm the oldest kid. So it's like, who do I fit in with? And it was a lot of pressure. It was because I was either too bossy to be a kid, or to hang out with the little ones, or I was too childish to hang out with the adults. And I'm like, forget it. I'm going to go rub my ears in the bathroom again, So, or I'll go cry on the roof. My mom's probably cracking up about that. So I'll just like stomp and I'll go cry on the roof. I'm like, forget it. Nobody wants to listen to me. Yeah. So there, like even with like all the sexual assault that I've been through as a little girl, it's like, wow, this is some really powerful stuff. Here I am thinking again that there's so many people who have been through worse, There's just so many people who have been through worse. And like for me, human trafficking is like the worst thing. Like it always just blows my mind how the people survive from that, and who do not, those who we don't ever hear their stories from, because they've just been, they've had the worst happen to them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this could have been me. This could have, like, thankfully, my parents were able to educate me well enough to know how to identify these types of situations and events that I was able to, even though it happened to me, I was able to get out of it really quick, you know, and just having that open line of communication with my parents, that was so important too.
Wow. Yeah.
Talk to anyone, and that's why, like, you know, I was even getting emotional because Dani actually looks like my godmother, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna end up getting so emotional in this call.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she actually does, and she has that energy about it too. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be horrible on the show, and I've cried. So everybody who already knows me, they know I'm a freaking crier, and I cry about anything, like good or bad. And
bless your heart. Oh, beauty. So let's get on to the books, because I mean, I need to go get my copy. So you've got your autobiography. Is that out? That was out in May. Yeah. And
that was supposed to be out in May. Yeah. It's supposed to be out, but like I said, like with being a self-publisher, it's so much work. I'm like, no wonder why people invest so much money, you know, like the seasoned authors who are already like on their 5th books or things like that. No wonder why they invest so much money into their books, is because this is hard stuff. And here I am thinking, I'm an event planner. I know how to do this. I know how to plan events, but dumb me, I'm not thinking about the pandemic. I'm just thinking about holding that book in my hand, because there's so many inspiring women who have shown their books in the Female Entrepreneur Association and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. I can write a book. I've done it. You know, I've been part of books before. Oh, but it was such a learning experience. I definitely know that I'm going to have to invest in a author and a publisher for the next ones, because even if it's just a 15-page children's book, nope, I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm gonna need some help, and that's like the ultimate lesson of my autobiography, is to ask for help. And here I am, not really asking for publishing help. So again, being stubborn, but you know, that's life, right? We're gonna have to continue with every new thing that we want to do, and every up level we're gonna not necessarily hurting, but we're gonna have to keep feeling that uncomfort in one way or another. And for me to not be able to deliver a product or a service at the time that somebody is expecting it, as an event planner, that is like crushing me. But all my family and friends are like, forget it, just do it when it comes in. It's okay. Just continue to work within your means, so that you don't get sick, so that you don't end up in the hospital, so that you don't, you know, the boys are, so that you're there for the boys, basically. And I'm like, okay, you know, that makes so much sense, because I do not want to be signing my books in the hospital. That's going to be so crazy.
Do you know what it is? You can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to put your own mask on first, and you've got to be okay for your boys. And, you know, everything's timing. We've said this before. And, you know, I see many books in your future. So exciting. And, you know, definitely chat to Dani 1 second. I have got this. She gifted me when I first met her. She's just had her new book come out, so she can give you all the pearls about publishing books. I've got my first one coming out, and I really appreciated your advice there about, you know, taking the time to heal and, you know, nourish the garden, because my first book is more of a mindset book, Fueled by No, to be out in December. And I was approached by a publisher. So I was just like, okay, I've done quite a lot of, you know, people approaching saying, will you do a chapter on this? But you know, the passion, the goal is to have my own autobiography. But I know there's a lot of stuff, because running, you know, kind of masked a lot of stuff. So now I'm no longer running. I'm having to really deal. So I'm really taking that nugget that you said about dealing with stuff, because I don't know what's going to come up. And that's so inspirational. So going on to collaborations, let's talk about this newest collaboration that you've got with, is it Natasha Bray? And it is Story Mind. And you've written a chapter called Stormcrafter.
Yes, actually, I think Natasha may have changed it, but I love that title, because I kind of talk about, I think I'm calling it Beautiful Boundaries now. So I told the team, I'm like, whatever you choose, you guys go ahead and go with it. So I like both. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I just love, like, for me, I love weather, right? And I love the storms. Like, I'm the type of person to walk in the rain, just enjoy the rain. I don't care. Like, unless of course my kids are with me and I'm like, hurry up, get in the car. You'll get sick, you know? So I love the weather. And for me, because Guam, we're in the Pacific, right? So we are kind of where the storms get brewed for the mainlands, like Asia and things like that. And from what I've experienced, like, storms are so beautiful, like, especially afterwards when everybody is at the same playing field, where there's no water, there's no power, there's no resources. All we have to do really is be there for each other. And I think that's what storms are for, is to really help us to navigate that, as well as to understand what our inner storms are, because there's going to be so many. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be storms within ourselves that are just a little bit of a trickle, right? Just a little bit of a trickle, or some windy stuff here and there. And then in comes the big tornado that just messes up everything. And you're like, how do I handle this?
What I love about storms,
unless you're going to be able to be the type of person to ride it, you know? Unless you're going to be the type of person to go out and surf that thing, you're brave enough to watch it. You're brave enough to stay safe and endure it, right?
Endure, that's a great word.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that really made me stick to the theme of storms, is because when we were little, or when I was little, and of course my parents too, the children on our island right now, they have never really experienced a really bad storm where everything's cut off. They haven't. And we're always telling them, you guys need to be thankful, be grateful for your experiences right now, because once the power goes off and you can't plug in all of your digital devices, what you gonna do? Draw, you're gonna read, you're gonna write, you're gonna play, you're gonna go into all these things that are disconnected. And it's like, how are you know, like, this is just another way for me to be able to express my appreciation and my connection with nature, because I love it when storms come through. I'm like, yeah, bring it on, let's do this, so that it can just calmly go about its way. And that's all it needs to do. And that's just the nature of it, right? That's just the nature of it, because it's there to teach us a lesson. And whether it is an actual storm in our environment or a storm within our hearts and our heads, we still have to let it be, feel it, and let it go. And that's pretty much the process with your transition coaching, right? Is you have to feel all your different feelings, because if you don't, you're going to be doing a balancing act, and you don't want to be trying to balance. You want to have harmony.
All those different times.
You want to have harmony rather than a balancing act. And I just I love the thought of that. I think it was Miss Valerie Fielder, I believe, the lady who mentioned that to me. She's another coach too. And I was like, oh, perfect. I don't want to balance things anymore. I just want harmony, because it's so much easier. And that's one of the reasons why we always tell people to do something that you love and follow your joy and follow your bliss, is because it's so much easier that way. It's so much easier that way.
Absolutely. And one of the things I love is I used to live in Orlando, Florida. So we used to have, not quite storms, but the rain would come down. But afterwards, the way the air would feel, there'd be a little tingle of electricity, a little excitement, and everything would just be clear. Like, anything that was blocking, whether it was physically, spiritually, you can breathe. And so, I love that. So, how was it collaborating with this book? Like, when is it coming out? How can we get hold of it?
Sure. So it was so fun. It was funny too, because like I mentioned, it was because of Natasha's program that I started doing my authorship and writing my autobiography. So my authorship is under the Beauty Collabs business. And when I was writing it, I was like, I'm going to join all these other books, so whoever kind of invited me to be a part of that, or I saw an opportunity to apply, I'm like, shoot, if I qualify, I applied. So I went and I applied for one that was based in Georgia of the United States. And I was like, I need to do this because that's where my brother is. And if we launch on that day, I'll be able to see him. And he's just been gone for a few months, but still is my baby brother. You know, I want to go and see him. And then that didn't really plan through because of the pandemic. People got sick, and even the main facilitator, she got sick, and so things happen, right? And I was like, okay, let's just put a pause on that project. And that one is called Diary of a Ready Woman 2. So that one's pretty cool. So that's one book collaboration that I was a part of. That's the first one. And then I started writing, or then I continued to write the autobiography, and I tried to do as best as I could. But then, I continued to just take things slowly and recover and heal and just process. Then Natasha's project came along, and I was like, yes, I'm going to apply for that too, because this is another way for me to expand my authorship and really showcase who I am, as well as like you mentioned, the power of collaborating, where we're able to hang out with all these different people and meet new professionals, meet new leaders, learn from them, learn from each other, right? So it's like, yes, let's just do that too. It was kind of difficult because they're based in the UK, and like you mentioned, it's early morning for you, or it's morning for you guys, right? It's almost what time is it? It's almost
10:27.
It's almost 10:30, and for me it's already 7:27 nighttime. And a lot of the times it would either, like, our meetings would be either at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 6 a.m. or 8 p.m. On a Friday, and I'm like, no, that's not party time. I'm gonna go hang out with my family. I was even telling Natasha, I was like, without going through your course, I wouldn't have been able to allow myself to not attend these meetings. Before her course, I would be like, okay, Beauty, you got to go to all of these AM meetings, because that's just how you're going to succeed. But then I was like, no, you know what? If things are being recorded, it's okay. I can still collaborate with all the ladies. I can still introduce myself. Right. I can still support them. I don't need to sacrifice sleep. I don't need to sacrifice my health and my well-being to collaborate. So it was a bit of a challenge in the beginning, but then when I allowed myself to, just go at my own pace, I was like, yeah, I can still do this. And there we are. We're going to be able to get our books purchased on June 3rd. So that's the date to save.
June 3rd. Save the date. I love that. So, two things I've taken away from our conversation.
Time. I'm so sorry. June 3rd UK time, and then June 4th, 9 a.m. Guam time.
Okay.
Just because of the time.
Maybe pop that in the chat for our listeners.
Yeah.
So I love that you always say, if I qualify, I'll apply. That's so good, because often we can stop ourselves, achieving greatness because we just don't think we're worthy. But if you qualify, you apply, and very often you will qualify. And if you feel it in your gut, that's for a reason.
Right,
so
and that's more so like a quote. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, sure. That I was just saying that, like, it's more so of a quote for like funded programs, but you can also apply that line to anything you want in your life. And if you want it, and like you mentioned, if you believe in yourself, do it. You believing in yourself is your main qualifier, like, for anything that you want to do, right?
That's it.
And
Amazing. Well, Beauty, I could literally talk to you all day. We're going to draw to a close now, and I'm going to let you, get back to your babies. But where can we connect with you? How can people reach out to you? How can people, get on your courses? I know you've got the Inner Beauty Makeover Kit. That's so cool. Yeah. How can we connect with you, lovely?
Sure. So for Fun Forte, if you need any fundraiser or event assistance and nonprofit assistance, that is at www.fundforte.com. And then all of our socials are there. And then for the arts authorship and advocacy, that's www.beautycolabs.com. And then all of our socials are there as well, but I'm going to be replying to everybody who showed up in the comments. And, you know, that's my personal profile. So feel free to add me and connect with me there. That's where I'm more active, because that's where everyone's kind of like, I know beauty, that's where I'm going to go, you know, rather than the business side of things. It's too formal. Sometimes for some people, they're like, no, I know her. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on her regular profile. And then my personal Instagram is BEAUDY, the letter N, and then BRAINS. So Beauty and Brains. And that's my tagline that I've had, I think, like ever since middle school. So it's stuck.
Absolutely. And you absolutely are a queen. You are a boss. You are beauty and brains. And thank you so much for just being an incredible, exotic loveliness for us today. And it's been such a pleasure to interview you and speak to you and delve a little bit into your story, your journey. And I need to go get my book, basically. That's what I need to do. But thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in from Guam. You had some love today. And, you know, we also had
thank you so much
as well. So we were international today. Thank you so much. And we wish you all the very best with your future endeavors. And we'd love to see you, you know, as part of the Hive and the Be Inspired community at some point. That would be awesome. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today to the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show. I've been your guest host, Champion You Coach, aka Marilyn Okoro, and I can't wait to be back again. And probably you'll have Dani back soon, but definitely she'll let me if I pass the test. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Have a blessed day.